Hello. Let's step through the doorway. Now, there is nothing in this world that is not interconnected, and that includes you. And it is just purely perception of how we see things, how we view things. And I shall show this to you in, like for example, this little porch that keeps the rain from coming in, and it provides us a way to step out into the world between the two pillars. Quite, you could say, depressing looking. It's gone from blue skies and sunshine to this sort of steady rain, which you can probably hear in the background. This reality is about walking two worlds, so let me just show you a little bit of progress, just like the porch, just like that covered area, and now the path that we are creating in the physical, just where you can see where as far as I've got as the stone, with the stones, obviously with that slope the water runs down and makes a bit of a boggy mess. So by using the resources we've got, what we're actually doing is creating a clear pathway. This is probably one of the most important videos I could ever make in what I can show you. That obviously is an external reflection, because I'm talking in metaphors as much as anything else, because you'll be able to walk the path and rise above the waters, as it were, without getting stuck in the boggy sludge of this earth clay. Now, it may look depressing, overcast and grey, but also consider, without the rain, it would take an awful lot to try and keep all this foliage alive, the trees and everything else. And I can't do a better job than nature does. Everything is naturally watered. So even as it is, as I speak, let's weigh things up here. Yes, it's raining, it's steady rain, but there's no real wind, and it's not that cold. Yes, I'd like things to be better, but I'm sure, although you can't see it through the veil of the clouds, there is the sun, which gives illumination and warmth. And just like this cloud, it's gone from blue skies earlier on today, and now the rain has set in, but nature needs the water. Now, those of you that are familiar with this channel will know that I'll often say 4 is a door. And I can give you a perception of this with the Marvel comic characters called the Fantastic Four. You have the one, I think the character is Grimm. All these Fantastic Four characters have this radiation, and it gives them these super abilities. So Grimm is known as the Thing, and becomes this bulky sort of character that seems almost to be made out of brown stone. And he has a saying, it's clobbering time. It's the facing the external world from the lower conscious, because this character Grimm is not happy with his appearance, therefore inside he doesn't feel happy with himself. I can't remember the names of the other 3 characters, but the next one is the Human Torch. That represents the internal fire, the passion inside you. Then you have the Invisible Girl. That is your subconscious that moves in the unseen. And then that leaves Mr. Fantastic. who has this ability to sort of stretch his body all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes. So keep that in mind for a moment, because I want now to talk about rabbit holes. No, not the ones you think I'm referring to, most likely, which would be what we could call conspiracy theories. I'm talking about those other rabbit holes, the ones where you feel like you've fallen down into a deep well. So I step into the role of Mr. Fantastic because I'm stretching out an arm to pull you out of that deep well. And the deep well, those rabbit holes I refer to, are depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. Because especially depression, if you fall deep into that one, it can seem, there may be somebody offering you a hand, but you can't reach it. You've got to make an enormous effort, but no, you don't have to. Because there is a hand here reaching out to you. Or if not you, if there is somebody that you know of that is going through this, send them this way. Come and talk to me. Because I've been through all three of those, and I can assure you that they do open up into something far better. It's just the conscious mind cannot interpret and has not learnt the language of what the body is trying to tell you. And we're programmed to think on the negative side of things, and we say, there must be something wrong with me. Let me reassure you that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. If you've gone into depression, you sort of go into a shell. Therefore, I see you as like a clamshell, and I can assure you that there is an oyster pearl inside you that is just waiting to open up to the world. That is what I'm offering. I'm coming from a place of experience because I've gone through all three of those experiences. I know how it feels. I know how stuck it can feel when it feels like there's nobody help you. When you have depression, you just want to shut yourself off from the world. You can probably hear Junus in the background here. Where are you, cat? Oh, he's in here, look. Here he is. He's not happy with the rain. He wants to go out hunting, but cats don't like rain. Interestingly, with cats, they, like all animals, are on all fours. So that's their four pillars of their world. We are upright. We are on two pillars, our legs. Excuse me. But of course, we don't fall forward and we don't fall back because we have it balance. It's expressed in medical terminology as the third ear. And isn't it interesting how readily it's accepted there is a third ear because they can point to something physical. But what about the third eye? See, I've got, in a human form, I have 5 senses, but I can double that number and have 10 senses because I can use those same senses internally, which gives me the ability to give interpolation to so many things, not least things like the Fantastic Four. I feel, on a personal level, as much as I'm feeling and I'm seeing it expressed in the external, that as we approach the end of February, it's coming to the end of a 7-year cycle, and it has been dredging through the abyss. But I've come out the other side. We're soon to enter a new year, as it were. Now, some will say it's March the 1st. I tend to go with March the 21st, which is the equinox, which by that time, those 2 little trees up there is probably going to be the marker of where the sun disappears behind the hill from the perspective of this world here. A world where there is no crime, there is no rape, there is no shootings, there is just stillness, peace and quiet. Nature is a wonderful therapy. Now, I can't say all of you come here, and obviously the practicalities. You may not have the means all the time to actually come here, but certainly online through these befriending sessions, the dapper service that I offer. It's so you feel dapper inside yourself. So you can take depression, anxiety, panic attacks and paranoia, and it can be energetically resolved. That's what the acronym dapper stands for. So if you like the interpretation I've given you already, I mean, just look at the picture now. Yes, it looks gloomy. Yes, it's overcast. Yes, there is a veil of cloud in the way of the sun, but the light is still coming through, as it were. And you can see there, just behind that concrete sink or washstand of old, there is rosemary that is in flower. There's always something beautiful to be seen in nature. It's a wonderful therapy. So I can at least offer you a visual taster for one of your five senses, using the resources I've got, which is the ability to record this video with this cell phone. And I can also show you, using the resources I've got, which is all the rocks and things, I can create a pathway, which is an external reflection of what is going inside myself. So if you're struggling in any way, then do come and talk to me, and I can give you a very different perspective on things, on many, many things, that will empower you to find your purpose, to find your calling, which I have done. Only yesterday, I was talking about Bruckner's 7th Symphony in a telephone conversation. After that had finished, I got 40% battery on the phone and it shut down on me. Rather than go to the negative and frustration and swearing at the phone, a voice said, put the radio on. And so I did, and this is not the first time this has happened. What should happen to be then starting to play on the radio but Bruckner's 7th Symphony? And listening to it for, I don't know how many times I've listened to it, but listening to it this time has shown me something, a really important message. This contrast between the first two movements and the last two movements within that, and the series of sessions I call the Bridge, which is centered around the Bruckner symphonies, will answer what that 7th Symphony is all about. But you could take the Linkin Park route, or you can take the Ultravox route. I'm seriously considering offering more. I'm offering also without the music, although music does uplift and inspire. But I'm also offering you, if you're really struggling with the depression and such like, just come and talk to me. It's in strict confidence between yourself, and as much as you want to share, I can share with you my personal experiences of going through those three very real, very restricting things, or so they seem to the mind. Because you can't, when you're going into things like depression, you can't find a way out. You can't see a way out of it. It's taken me all this time to get to this realization, this revelation that has come from this. So I can actually say that panic attacks, depression, and anxiety are actually a good thing to go through. Not obviously, they certainly don't feel it at the time. I'm not trying to diminish the feeling of that, but what I am offering you is a way to transmute that. That saying about a weakness becomes a strength, I found that to be true, and I would love to share that with you, because that is my calling, to see things in a different way and offer a very different interpolation on things that will help you find that self-empowerment within yourself. So I invite you to try one of the courses. I'm not going to go over all the details again. You can refer back to the previous 2-3 videos all about that. But hopefully this video, despite the doom and gloom, has given you a new perspective and been able to see the contrast, because just like this veil, this weather that would appear to be very depressing, that there is a return of blue skies and a return of sunshine. Whilst we're in the moment, and it always happens in the moment, it may appear that it doesn't look likely. Certainly the forecast is saying tomorrow, the 28th of February, is going to be an awful day, but we've taken active steps in having sufficient charge, so even if it's like this, we still will be able to have reserve of solar power for charging devices and things here. So I'll leave that there. Hopefully that has piqued your curiosity. It's certainly a hand being outstretched to you to help pull you through these rather difficult rabbit holes, to pull you out the bottom of that well. The rest now is up to you, because you have free will, you have choice. You can try these sessions, see if it's something that would appeal to you, or maybe just based on what I've said in this video. I'll leave that entirely to you. But we are about to step into a new chapter, and I would love to guide you through into this new chapter, into this new year, which is actually the year 5919, which the reduction comes to 24, which is a 6, which references the mind's eye. As we get into 5920, that's a reduction of 7, so we'll be going from seeing things from a mind's eye perspective to seeing things from a higher perspective, and that is also something that is reflected here, because the cats have taken to going up on the roof. You can see that on one of the short videos I made, because they're still in contact with the ground. But they're seeing things from a higher perspective. They're just reflections for us to see things in a very different way. So rather than this programmed negative default of what's wrong with me, oh it's raining, oh it's gloomy, there's always a light to be found. There's an oyster pearl that's within the shell, which is inside you. So it's an invitation for you to be able to open up and find that oyster pearl inside yourself, because it is there. And obviously, like an oyster pearl, it does take time to grow. And if you feel this will help you, it will be at a time where that oyster pearl has already started to grow. So you'll be able to see that oyster pearl inside yourself, and you'll be able to continue to grow that inside yourself, and then be able to step out into this world and be able to walk two worlds with a very different perspective on this reality, because it is a real to real reality. It is just like a film. I mentioned about the law of reversal and how we can collapse time, how we can very much change things that do affect the physical body. So that is on offer to you as well. So it's entirely up to you. You're under no obligation. You could have maybe just 1 or 2 sessions. That may be just enough. That may be all you need. You will just know when you've reached a point where you can emerge and step out into the world again, renewed and feeling dapper inside yourself. As always, Unconditional love to you all.